What secret legacies lie beneath humble exteriors? Discover the incredible story of Shimmy.
Came not from a billionaire's boardroom, but from a janitor's closet. The real story involves a secret so well kept, it took death itself to reveal it. I'm Tony, and welcome to another episode of Untold Stories, where we uncover the hidden narratives that reshape how we see the world. Today's story will challenge every assumption you have about wealth, generosity, and what it means to live a meaningful life. Picture this. It's 1997, and lawyers in Vermont are reading a will that will shock an entire community. The deceased? A 92-year-old man named James McConnell. His friends called him Shimmy. To everyone who knew him, he was just the quiet janitor from Penney, who never seemed to have much of anything. For decades, Shimmy had been the embodiment of frugality. We're talking about a man who repaired his shoes with duct tape rather than buy new ones. He shopped for clothes in the lost and found box at work. He drove a rusty Plymouth that looked like it might not make it through another winter. His apartment, small, Spartan, devoid of luxuries that most of us consider basic necessities. His co-workers remember him as polite but private. He'd show up for his shift, mop the floors, empty the trash, and go home. No complaints, no drama, no stories about weekend adventures or expensive purchases. If you passed him on the street, you might think, there goes a man who's just getting by. But here's where our story takes its first mysterious turn. While everyone saw Shimmy as barely scraping by, he had a secret life that would make Wall Street executives jealous. Every evening, after hanging up his janitor's uniform, he would sit down with financial journals and newspapers. The Wall Street Journal, Barron's investment newsletters, he consumed them all with the intensity of a scholar. For over 50 years, while living on his modest janitor's salary, Shimmy was meticulously building and managing a stock portfolio. He had developed an investment strategy that would have impressed professional fund managers. He researched companies, tracked market trends, and made calculated decisions about when to buy, when to hold, and when to sell. But Shimmy's investment approach was far more sophisticated than anyone could have imagined. He developed a system that would rival any professional analyst. He kept detailed notebooks filled with company research, dividend histories, and market analysis. He understood the power of blue-chip stocks, focusing on established companies with steady growth potential. IBM, General Electric, Procter & Gamble, these weren't glamorous picks, but they were solid, dependable choices that grew steadily over decades. Think about the discipline this required. Day after day, year after year, watching his investments grow while living as if he had nothing. No fancy dinners to celebrate a good stock pick, no new car when his portfolio hit a milestone. He lived entirely on his wages, letting compound interest work its magic in complete secrecy. But why? What drives a man to live like a pauper while secretly accumulating wealth? This is where Shimmy's story becomes not just fascinating, but deeply moving. You see, he had a vision that went far beyond his own comfort or recognition. Now back to that lawyer's office in 1997. As they read Shimmy's will aloud, jaws dropped. The quiet janitor who repaired his shoes with duct tape had accumulated a fortune of over $7 million. $7 million! But here's the part that sent shockwaves through the community. He wasn't leaving it to family. He had no family. Every penny was being given away. $6.9 million went to two recipients, the local hospital and the University of Vermont Medical School. But this wasn't just a donation. It was a strategic investment in human potential. Shimmy had specified that the money should fund scholarships for aspiring doctors, removing the crushing burden of student debt that keeps so many talented people from pursuing medicine. The news of Shimmy's bequest sent shockwaves throughout the Vermont community. Former co-workers at Penney couldn't believe it. That's impossible, many said. He couldn't even afford new shoes. The local newspaper ran the story on the front page, and suddenly everyone had a memory of the quiet janitor. His landlord revealed that Shimmy had always paid rent in cash on time for decades. Neighbors recalled seeing him walking to work every day, rain or shine, carrying his simple lunch in a brown paper bag. The revelation forced an entire community to reconsider their assumptions about wealth, success, and the people around them. The James McConnell scholarships were born, and with them, something beautiful began to unfold. Students who might have been deterred by the astronomical cost of medical school suddenly found their path cleared. But Shimmy's impact didn't stop there. Many of these scholarship recipients have chosen to serve in rural areas and underserved communities, exactly the places that struggle most to attract quality health care. Imagine being a patient in a small Vermont town, receiving life-saving care from a doctor whose education was made possible by a janitor you never met. That doctor might be examining your child, delivering your grandchild, or holding your hand during the most frightening moment of your life. All because a man in duct-taped shoes decided that helping others was more important than helping himself. Let me share some specific examples of how Shimmy's gift transformed lives. Dr. Sarah Chen, one of the first McConnell Scholarship recipients, now runs a family practice in rural Vermont, where she provides health care to over 2,000 residents who previously had to drive hours to see a doctor. Dr. Marcus Williams used his McConnell Scholarship to become a pediatric cardiologist and has since saved countless children's lives through groundbreaking heart surgeries. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, another recipient, chose to work in a community health center serving low-income families, providing free and reduced-cost medical care to those who couldn't otherwise afford it. Each of these doctors carries forward Shimmy's legacy of quiet service and profound impact. What strikes me most about Shimmy's story isn't just the money. Though $7 million is certainly impressive for someone earning a janitor's salary, it's the intention behind it. This was a man who understood that true wealth isn't measured by what you accumulate, but by what you give away. He didn't want recognition, fame, or his name on a building. He wanted impact. Think about the remarkable restraint this required. For 50 years, he could have upgraded his lifestyle at any time. He could have bought a decent car, a nicer apartment, better clothes. He could have taken vacations, enjoyed fine dining, or simply lived more comfortably. Instead, he chose to live as if he had nothing so that future generations could have everything they needed to heal the world. Shimmy's story forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about our society's values. We celebrate flashy displays of wealth, the expensive cars, designer clothes, luxurious vacations, but we often overlook the quiet heroes walking among us. Shimmy understood something that many of us struggle to grasp, that true security doesn't come from what you own, but from what you contribute. He found joy not in spending money, but in watching it grow with the knowledge that every dollar would someday heal, help, and hope. His contentment came from a secret most of us never learn, that the greatest pleasure in life is not receiving, but giving. Shimmy McConnell's legacy challenges everything we think we know about philanthropy and success. He proved that you don't need to be a tech billionaire or inherit millions to change the world. You just need vision, discipline, and a heart big enough to put others before yourself. His story reminds us that the most profound acts of generosity often happen in silence, away from cameras and praise. Today, decades later, the ripple effects of his gift continue to spread. Every life saved by a McConnell Scholarship recipient, every family kept together by quality health care, every community strengthened by the presence of a dedicated physician. These are the true measures of Shimmy's wealth. The next time you see someone living modestly, remember Shimmy McConnell. Remember that behind the most ordinary exterior might hide the most extraordinary heart. And ask yourself, what secret good could you be doing in your own quiet way? It makes you wonder, what other incredible tales are hiding just beneath the surface of history, doesn't it? If you want to uncover more stories like this, make sure to follow or subscribe to Wondercraft Untold Stories right where you're listening. And if you have a story you think the world needs to hear, share it with me in the comments or reviews. Your suggestion might be our next episode.